Passion, drive, persistence, resilience, love. All qualities that shape and define us. Join the Cyber Warrior as he helps shape your path. This is Walk With Me.
Welcome back to Walk With Me, a cyberwarriorstudios production. I'm your host on this journey, the Cyber Warrior. Now, today, first and foremost, I want to thank everybody that's been listening every week, everybody that, whether it's been on YouTube or podcast downloads. This show has gone a lot better than I ever thought it would. In less than 8 months, less than 8 months, we broke 2,000 downloads. That is huge for me, okay? And that's not counting the views on YouTube. So just in the audio form, we broke 2,000. So thank you to everybody that's been listening. I truly appreciate it. From the bottom of my heart, this is something that I love doing, and I'm so glad that people are getting something from it. Many of you have reached out or submitted questions over the past 32, this is now 33 episodes. So thank you. And if anybody wants to submit questions that they need help with, they need guidance, or whatever the case may be, in any way, shape, or form, please, in the description below is my ngl.link. So you can use that for AMA, or you can also send them to wwm@cyberwarriorstudios.com. And again, that's in the show notes description, whatever you're listening and or watching this on. So getting into it, I did get 2 more questions. Now, the first question was addressed on my security happy hour on Fridays. However, not everybody watches it. So I figured, you know what, we'll talk about it here. And we're also going to address the second question this person asked. So in order to do that, let me read this question to you. How do I increase the quality of time management? Now, this is big because time management is something that even I have struggled with in the past. Now, I've gotten a lot better with it. Don't get me wrong. But for a while, I struggled with it. And even every now and then, I catch myself. But the reality is that time management is something that you truly have to focus on. So there's a lot of different methods, right? There's the Pomodoro method, which you take 20 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on how long you want to go. Some people even do like 40. You dedicate that time to a task at hand. You focus 100% on it, and then you take a break. This allows you to get more tasks done more efficiently, because the problem we have in today's society, beyond the short attention span, right? A lot of people call it the TikTok generation. Don't get me wrong, I'm on TikTok. I have videos there also. The reality of it is, though, that we tend to think we can multitask. And I believe I've addressed this on the show before, but I want to bring it up again, that there's no such thing as multitasking. Your brain cannot function that way. You can give 100% attention and 100% focus to anything if you are splitting your mind, okay? If you have so many different things going on all at the same time. It's actually called context switching. And if you're context switching all at once, you are never giving anything 100%. It might be 80% and 20, 60, 40. And if we want to break it down even more, because maybe you're doing multiple things, you can start looking at 60, 20, 20, 50, 25, 25, whatever the case may be. So you're not dedicating that time. So what that does is it takes away from not only the quality of work, but the efficiency of it, because now it's going to take you more time to do something. So even though you may eventually get it and it could be perfect, it took you a lot longer, which means now that time, which could have been utilized to focus in and only take you maybe 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, now it took you a few hours or even a few days, depending on how many different things you're working on all at once. So really narrowing down that focus. And there was another question, actually it was on social media earlier today, about studying and how you manage your time for that. And what people don't realize is a lot of times, especially with online learning today, I'm a huge proponent of learning any way you can and learning the best way you can. But I've made it blatantly clear to a lot of people, I do not learn well online, because I know for a fact that if I am trying to learn something online, especially if it's a topic that I'm relatively familiar with, I'm going to split my focus. I'm not going to be paying attention, which then means I'm not going to get all the information, because what else I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be on Twitter or LinkedIn or doing something completely different that has nothing to do with the task at hand. So if you're going to be studying, if you're going to be working on a project, if you're going to be writing a book, if you're going to be doing whatever it is you're trying to focus on, you have to eliminate the distractions. Because when it comes to time management, 9 times out of 10, it's not necessarily managing our time that's the problem. It's managing the distractions. For instance, we complain a lot about time. There's not enough time in the day to get everything done. Is that reality though? Because how much time are you spending scrolling through social media, whether it's Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, you name it? How much time are you spending watching YouTube videos that aren't about leveling up? They're not about being educated. They're funny or music videos or something. You know, the amount of time we spend in these things far exceeds the amount of time that we normally put into studying or trying to get work done. When you think of time management, you can't think of it necessarily of how do I manage my time? You have to look at it as how do I manage the distractions in my life? And again, there's nothing wrong with being on social media or watching TV or playing video games. You just have to make sure that you have that time to do so. If there is something that you need to accomplish in your day or in your work week, or if you are trying to study or whatever it is you're trying to do, you have to eliminate distractions. It's the best way because it's not a time management problem necessarily. It's a distraction problem. So I know we may or may not have addressed that on Security Happy Hour on Friday. You'll get other opinions on there too. So if you're listening to this and want more opinions on time management, we have discussed it on episodes of Security Happy Hour, which is on YouTube. So I hope that helps. I want to get into this next question because this next question is actually pretty interesting. It says, how can I learn negotiating skills? That's tricky because it depends on what you're trying to negotiate. If you're trying to negotiate something like a salary, then you can actually talk to a lot of different people and take different classes on it. And what I like to look at it as is almost like sales. So when I was 16, I used to be really good at sales because I knew computers. That's what I sold. I wasn't paid on commission. I just knew computers. So for me, making sales wasn't about trying to get the most out of people. It was making sure all their needs were covered. My negotiating and my ability to negotiate what people bought came from talking to people and understanding people. And you can look at negotiating salaries and negotiating just about anything in your life the same way. You have to have empathy for a business, for the person you're negotiating with, and understand where they're coming from. Yeah, some people are going to try to lowball you. Some people are going to try to undercut you, try to make you feel like you're worth less. But the reality of it is you have to know your worth because you're worth it. And then you have to be able to sit there and really look at where they're coming from, because everything in life that we're trying to negotiate 9 times out of 10 has to do with sales or money of some kind. And that comes with a dollar amount. So you have to understand the business side of things. And if you're just talking about negotiating things just in life in general, maybe you're trying to come to a compromise with your partner or a friend or family member, well, then empathy is key because, again, it comes down to understanding. So if you are good at understanding people, if you are good at understanding someone else's point of view or why somebody thinks or says the things they do or why they want what they want, then negotiating comes so much easier because then you can meet in the middle. And again, this can go for sales. This can go for salary. This can go for anything. You can find out why things are the way they are, why people are the way they are, and negotiate from there. But empathy for it is huge. If you don't have that empathy, if you don't have the ability to understand the human that you're speaking with and why they have put a certain price tag on something or why they have chosen to do something a certain way, well, it makes it a lot harder. But I will say, there are classes out there that'll teach you sales, and those sales tactics, if they're good ones, and I'm not saying lie to people, but there are some good sales classes out there that will teach you negotiation, that will teach you how to understand the business. And so it's something you may want to look into. But again, I don't know what type of negotiating you're talking about, so I'm just taking this as a best effort. And I feel like from the standpoint of empathy is where you can get a really good negotiating skills, because you start understanding the human and what is going on emotionally and why they are saying and or doing things the way they're doing versus you reacting emotionally and trying to go at it that way. And sales is the same way. Companies get afraid when they see a high dollar amount. So you have to be able to negotiate in such a way that it makes sense for them. I hope that helps, because that is something that's very important. Negotiation in life is extremely important. You have to be able to negotiate salaries. You have to be able to negotiate raises. You have to be able to negotiate sales. You have to be able to negotiate just to get hired. You have to sell yourself in an interview. So that negotiation comes in a lot. And in your relationships, negotiation comes in a lot, because it should never be about just getting your way. It should be about compromise and understanding both sides of the coin. And if you can understand both sides and understand where people are coming from and why they feel the way they feel, then it makes that negotiation so much easier, because then maybe you both get what you want. I mean, you're both going to have to give. These things are give and take in business, in life, in relationships, and everything. It can't just be one-sided. And so negotiating is huge. Compromise is huge. I hope that helps, because that's how I look at life. Life is a series of negotiations. Life is a series of just trying to be better and trying to understand people, because everybody's different. We're all different. And negotiating and dealing with people is huge. So I hope that helps. Now, otherwise, I mean, it's Odin's Day. And on Odin's Day, it's about spreading wisdom. So in that same vein, here's a little bit of wisdom for you. Life is not always going to be easy. And although I say you need to compromise, you need to negotiate, you're not always going to get your way. Sometimes things just don't go your way. It happens. So what you have to do is you have to take from life what it gives you, and you have to make it work to your benefit. Because even if it doesn't go your way, you can find a way to make it work for you. You have to be able to look at an entire situation. And like I said a little earlier, you can't react emotionally, because when you react emotionally, you limit your ability to comprehend the logic of certain things. So that's my little bit of wisdom. Be more logical. Be less emotional in your responses and more logical. Emotion is okay. We've discussed this. But when you're trying to approach certain situations, you have to be more logical in your decision making and less emotional. Now, otherwise, I'm the Cyber Warrior. This is Cyber Warrior Studio, and this has been another amazing episode of Walk With Me. Now, if you want to support the show, please rate, share, comment, all those things. Review if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whatever the case may be. And as always, you can check the show notes and the description below for ways you can support the channel financially, whether that's through PayPal, Cash App, merchandise. I just created more merchandise this year for Walk With Me. So if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you've seen any of my motivational videos, I tend to be wearing my zipper hoodie. I actually really like it. But also, I love you all. For those that have been following along, I truly believe you're all warriors. You're all fighters, and you can accomplish great things. Don't let anybody tell you any different. You have to believe in you. So you all take care. And if you watch any of my content, keep up with me, because I'm always going to be there, and I'm always going to be around to motivate y'all. You take care. Have a good one. And we'll be back with another amazing episode next week on Odin's Day.